Hello students, good morning and welcome to another video lecture of physics. In this video lecture, we are going to solve examples and unsolved example from our textbook. Right, few examples are left which we are going to discuss in our this video lecture. So let us start with example 5.11. Solved example 5.11. Now, in this example, it is given that a domain in a ferromagnetic iron is in the form of a cube. So, ferromagnetic iron is in the form of cube. The domain inside that ferromagnetic iron is in the form of cube. Of side length 1 micrometer. So, length of domain is given as L is equal to 1 micrometer. That is 10 to the power minus 6 meter. That is the length of the domain. Estimate the number of ions atoms in the domain and the maximum possible dipole moment. We have to find the number of atoms present inside the domain. So you can write number of atoms inside domain, that is n, which we have to calculate. Also we have to calculate the maximum possible dipole moment. So M max, maximum dipole moment, right? Maximum possible dipole moment, M max. And magnetization, and we have to find magnetization, capital M. The molar mass of the iron is molecular mass. So let me write small m for mass, that is 55 gram per mole it is given. And its density is given as 7.9 gram per centimeter cube. Assuming that each iron atom has a dipole moment of magnetic dipole moment of each atom. Here we have already taken mass as m, let me write this as m dash, and magnetic dipole moment of each atom be m, which is given as 9.27 into 10 to the power minus 24. 9.27 into 10 to the power minus 24 ampere meter square. So these are the given datas. Remember here, this is maximum magnetic dipole moment, this is magnetization, and this is mass of molecular mass of atom, FeIN, right? This is molecular mass, this is density, and this m is dipole moment of each atom. So we are dealing with large number of m's, m, right? So you have to remember, don't get confused in this. Remember that here m max is maximum dipole moment, right? And this m is molecular mass, while this m is magnetic dipole moment of atom. How to find number of atoms? Look, this is 55 gram per mole. So you can say that in 55 into 10 to the power minus 3 kg, there will be 6.023 into 10 raised to 23 atoms. Right, Avogadro's number. 55 into 10 to the power minus 3 kg will contain 6.023 into 10 to the power 23 atoms. So now here actually total mass is left, density is given, length is given. So let me find total mass. Here total mass, what will write? M total, this is mass, is equal to density into volume. If you remember, density is mass over volume, right? So mass will be density into volume. So this is rho, and volume of a cube is L cube. So rho is given as 7.9 into 10 to the power minus 3. Look, I am directly converting this into kg, right? Kg, and centimeter is 10 to the power minus 2 meter whole cube into volume. 10 to the power minus 6 cube, right? Length is 10 to the power minus 6 and volume is L cube. So this will be equal to 7.9 into 10 to the power minus 3 into 6 3s are 18, 10 to the power minus 18. 10 raised to minus 2 cube is 10 to the power minus 6 kg per meter cube. If you take minus 6 in numerator, it will become plus 6. So minus 18 plus 6 is minus 12. Minus 12 minus is minus 15. So 7.9 into 10 to the power minus 15 kg. This is meter cube, right? So this is actually kg per meter cube into meter cube. So this will get cancelled out. So this is kg. So 55 into 10 to the power minus 3 kg will have this many number of atoms. So therefore 7.9 into 10 to the power minus 15 kg will contain how many number of atoms, right? So here we have calculated total mass, right? And for that formula we are going to use here. So therefore you can say that N will be equal to 7.9 into 10 to the power minus 15 into 6.023 into 10 to the power 23 whole over 55 into 10 to the power minus 3. So this will be equal to, let us use calculator. So if we use calculator, answer will be 7.9 into 6.023 divided by 55. So your answer will be 0.86. The answer will be 0.86 5121818 and so on. So 0.865. Now 23 minus 3 will move up, so it will be 26. 23 plus 3 will be 26. Now 26 minus 15 will be 10 to the power plus 11. These are the number of atoms present inside the domain, right? Now we want to find maximum magnetization. Let us say this is first case which we have calculated. Now the second thing which we have to find is M max, that is maximum dipole moment. So in case B we have to find maximum magnetic dipole moment. So maximum magnetic dipole moment N max will be equal to, look, this is magnetic dipole moment of each atom and there are n number of atoms, right? This is magnetic dipole moment of each atom and there are n number of atoms. So total magnetic dipole moment will be n into m. So that maximum magnetic dipole moment will be n into m. So that will be equal to 0.865 into 10 to the power 11 into 9.27 into 10 to the power minus 24. So this will be equal to, now 0.865 into 9.27 will give you 8.01855. 8.01855 into 10 to the power minus 24 plus 11 is minus 13, right? Ampere meter square. This is the maximum magnetic dipole moment. Now the third quantity which you have to find is magnetization, right? So let us say the third one is magnetization M. Now magnetization is defined as net magnetic dipole moment, that is M max, maximum magnetic dipole moment per unit volume. Now M max is 8.01855 into 10 to the power minus 13 divided by volume here is L cube, that is 10 to the power minus 6 cube is 10 to the power minus 18. So if minus 18 will move up, so it will become plus 18 minus 13 is 10 raised to 5. So 8.01855 into 10 to the power 5 ampere per meter. Look, M max is ampere meter square and volume is meter cube. So ampere per meter. Clear? Simple example, you should know formula, then it is quite simple to solve. Do one thing, pause this video and copy this first. Now the next example which we are going to discuss is solved example 5.5. Example 5.5. Remember, this is the most important one in order to understand the concept, right? So in this, it is given that figure shows a small magnetized needle placed at point O. We have a small magnetized needle which is kept at point O. The arrow shows the direction of magnetic moment. The arrow of the needle shows the direction of the magnetic moment. The other arrow shows different position, that is orientation of the magnetic moment of another identical magnetized needle. So there are few more magnetized needle and their direction is represented by arrow. A. In which configuration the system is not in equilibrium. B. In which configuration is the system in one more stable and two unstable equilibrium. C. Which configuration corresponds to the lowest potential energy among all the configurations shown. So here the figure is something like this. Here we have dipole moment P, a small magnetized needle P at point O, which is kept at point O. Right. Now if this is the magnetized needle, then its magnetic dipole moment is represented by the arrow. So the magnetic field lines for this needle will be in this direction. This is for the needle, right? The magnetic field lines for the needle will be in this direction. From arrow to tail, right? From arrow to tail. So the direction will be like this. If you want, you can draw it like this if you want. This will be the direction of magnetic field of this needle. So here the direction will be from arrow, right, to tail. Right, so here it is entering inside and here from top it is coming out. Right, so this is the figure which is given. The inner magnetic field lines of the dipole we have drawn ourselves, right? Now here we have one magnetic needle Q1 whose magnetic dipole moment is in this direction. Here we have another needle Q2 and its magnetic moment is also in this direction. Then here we have third needle Q3. Then somewhere over here we have Q4. Here we have Q5 and here we have Q6. Right, so there are 6 different magnetic needles kept at different position with respect to a magnetic needle at point O. Now we have to find the condition when it is in unstable. Sorry, the first one is not in equilibrium. The condition when the needle is not in equilibrium. Look, for, let me write as a note over here. Let us write note. For stable equilibrium, M must be parallel to B. Let us our first note is for stable equilibrium, M must be parallel to B. That is, magnetic dipole moment must be parallel to magnetic field. For unstable equilibrium, so for unstable equilibrium, magnetic dipole moment must be anti-parallel to B. So here you can say that theta must be 0 degree and here you can say that theta must be 180 degree. Angle between M, that is magnetic moment and magnetic field, if angle is 0 then it is in stable equilibrium, and if angle is 180 degree then it is in unstable equilibrium, right? So it is in unstable equilibrium, angle must be 180 degree. And third condition, when it is not stable, the first condition which we want to find is not in equilibrium. So if M is perpendicular to B, then you can say that the condition, this condition represents non-stable condition, non-equilibrium condition, you can say that. Or you can say that it is not in equilibrium condition, right? If M is perpendicular to B. This you have to keep in mind. Remember, we have already discussed that if this is the magnetic field and magnetic needle is in the direction of magnetic field, then it is the most stable position, right? And potential energy will be minus mb. But if this magnetic needle is in opposite direction, then it is in most unstable equilibrium, right? And when it is perpendicular to the magnetic field, then it is not in equilibrium, the needle will rotate. In most unstable equilibrium, potential energy will be plus mb, and in most stable position, potential energy will be minus mb. Clear? So the first condition which we have to answer is, in which configuration the system is not in equilibrium. So here, when M is perpendicular to B, if M is perpendicular to B, then it is not in equilibrium state or condition, you can write. So here you can see that P is in this direction, right? And Q1 is in this direction. So angle between P and Q1 is 90 degree. So here you can see that Q1 is not in equilibrium with P1 or P, sorry. And in the same way, here we have Q2. So Q2 is also perpendicular to P. So it represents that P and Q2 are not in equilibrium. So here you can say that PQ1 and PQ2 are not in equilibrium state, right? Second case, B. In which configuration is the system in stable and unstable equilibrium? So in B, first one, for stable equilibrium, M must be parallel to B. So here you can see that the magnetic field line of P, let me use another color. So here you can see that this magnetic dipole moment of P is in this direction. You can see that it is in this direction at this point, right? And at this point it is in downward direction. In the same way, here it is in this direction, and here it is coming out, right? Here it is entering inside. So for stable equilibrium, angle must be 0. So here you can see that Q6 and this are in same direction. Angle is 0, parallel to each other. Q3 and the magnetic moment of P are in same direction. So here you can say that here PQ3 and PQ6 are in stable equilibrium. Clear? Look, these are in same direction, and here Q6 and the magnetic moment of P are in same direction, right? So you can say that they are in stable equilibrium. Now for unstable equilibrium, M must be in opposite direction. M must be in opposite to B, right? M and B must be in opposite direction. So here we have already written here angle must be 180 degree. So here you can see that Q4 is moving in downward direction while P is moving in upward direction, so they are in opposite direction. In the same way, Q5 and P are in opposite direction. So here you can say that PQ4 and P, Q phi are in unstable equilibrium. Are in unstable equilibrium. The third one. Now in third case, we have to find which configuration corresponds to the lowest potential energy among the all configurations shown. Right. So here, lowest potential energy is U is equal to minus mb, right? That is most stable equilibrium, right? So for lowest potential energy, it must be the most stable position, right? Equilibrium, you can say. So for that, you can say that for stable equilibrium, we have two conditions, PQ3 and PQ6. PQ3 and PQ6. So out of these two, which is at the lowest potential energy? So M into B. So for, let us say, for PQ3, you can see that this is P, right? Here we have P and this is Q3. So the Q3 lies along the equatorial point of P, while Q6 lines along the axis of the P. So here for Q3, U will be equal to minus M into B of equator, and for P Q6, U will be equal to minus M into B of axis. Now remember, B of axis is 2 times B of equator. B of axis is 2 times B of equator, right? So here you can say that this is minus M into B of axis is 2 times B of equator. So that is minus 2MB equator. If this is U1 and this is U2, then obviously U2 is less than U1, because minus 2 and this is minus 1. So hence you can say that, we can say that for most stable equilibrium, PQ6 is in the most stable equilibrium. Hence we can say that, hence PQ6 is at lowest potential energy. PQ6 represents the lowest potential energy. Look, quite simple example. Just we will again revise this. In this case, a magnetic needle with some magnetic moment is given and the arrow indicates its magnetic dipole moment. With respect to P, there are 6 different magnetized needles are given, right? And their orientation, or they are arranged in different direction. So in first case, we have to find that which are not in equilibrium. So if angle is 90 degree, in that case we can say that they are not in equilibrium. So here you can say that Q1 and Q2 are perpendicular to P, so they are not in equilibrium. So PQ1 and PQ2 are not in equilibrium state. Now second case, we want to find most stable equilibrium. Most stable equilibrium represents minimum potential energy. So in that case, M and B must be parallel to each other. So here you can see that P of this needle is in downward direction at Q3. So P and Q3 are, you can say that, in stable equilibrium. In the same way, Q6 and P are in same direction. You can say that Q6 is moving up and here P is also in upward direction, right? So they are also in stable equilibrium. For unstable equilibrium, P and B must be in anti-parallel to each other. P and B must be anti-parallel to each other, or you can say that they are in opposite direction. So here Q phi and P are in opposite direction, as well as Q4 and P are in opposite direction. So they are in unstable equilibrium. Now out of these two stable equilibrium, that is PQ3 and PQ6, which represents the most stable position, that is the lowest potential energy. So in PQ6 or PQ3, out of these two, which one is having the lowest potential energy? So for that, lowest potential energy is minus MB. So for PQ3, U1 is minus MB equator, and for PQ6, U2 is minus MB of axis. But we know that B of axis is 2 times B of equator. We have already discussed this, right? If you want, we will write somewhere over here that B of axis is actually mu naught over 4 pi 2m by r cube, and B of equator, let me write over here, B of equator is mu naught over 4 pi m by r cube. Right, so here we have 2. So if you write mu naught by 4 pi m by r cube is b equator and 2 is left. So you can say that this is 2 times b of equator. So b of axis is 2 times b of equator. So obviously if you put 2 into m into b of equator, so you can say that u2 is 2 times u1 with negative sign. So u2 is less than u1, hence pq6 is at the lowest potential energy. Clear? Pause this video and copy this. Now the next example which we are going to discuss is solved example 5.3. Solved example 5.3. In that we have 4 different questions, right? First one, what happens if a bar magnet is cut into 2 pieces transverse to its length and along its length? So in that first one, it is given that if we have a bar magnet, let me draw 2 different bar magnets because we are going to cut it in 2 different ways. One is transverse to its length. Suppose its length is L and we are cutting it perpendicular to its length like this. So this is transverse to its length. So in that case, what will happen? So in this case, we will have 2 different bar magnets. We will have 2 different bar magnets, each having, suppose if this is north and south, then you will have north south and north south. So if you cut a bar magnet perpendicular to its length, then in that case we will have 2 different independent bar magnets, each having north and south pole. Now remember, in this case we will have 2 identical bar magnets or 2 different bar magnets, right? But one most important thing which is not given in our textbook is that in this case magnetic dipole moment of each magnet will become half. Suppose the magnetic dipole moment of this magnet is m, then this will be m by 2 and this will be m by 2, but the pole strength will remain same. Pole strength will remain same, right? Because magnetic dipole moment is 2L into P. Now here length is L by 2, L by 2, right? So half of this, so magnetic dipole moment will also become half. But pole strength is the strength of the pole which will remain same. Now in second case, if you cut the bar magnet along its length, right, in this direction, along its axis you can say. So here also we will get 2 magnets, north, south, and here also we will get north, south. Right, so here we will get 2 magnets, right? 2 magnets we will get, and here magnetic dipole moment will become half, as well as pole strength will also become half because you are cutting this along its length. So here pole strength P is there, so if you cut it through its length, it will divide by 2. So pole strength will be P by 2, as well as magnetic dipole moment will be half only. Right, so if you cut a bar magnet perpendicular to its length, then magnetic dipole moment will become half, but pole strength will remain same. Right, if you cut along its length, then pole strength and magnetic dipole moment both will become half. Clear? Second one, a magnetized needle in a uniform magnetic field experiences a torque but no net force. An iron nails near a bar magnet, however, experiences a force of attraction in addition to the torque. Why? Look, in second one it is given that if we keep a bar magnet or a magnetized needle in a uniform magnetic field, right, let us say this is the magnetic needle kept in a uniform magnetic field, then here force acting on this will be F is equal to Q into B, QM. Instead of that, let me write P into B, and here force acting on it will be F, let us say F2, and let this be F1, will be equal to PB. So you can see that both these forces are equal and opposite, right? Hence net force will be 0. Since these 2 forces are equal and opposite and their line of action is not same, means if you extend these 2 forces, they are not going to meet at a point, so torque will be produced. So in this case force will be 0 but torque will be non-zero, right? You have to remember this both for electric field as well as magnetic field. If an electric dipole is kept in an electric field, then also this condition is correct, and magnetic dipole is kept in a uniform magnetic field, then also this condition is correct. Remember, this is the most important MCQ which has been asked in board exam. right? But if we have a north pole of a bar magnet, right, then its magnetic field will not be uniform. This will be the magnetic field for a bar magnet, non-uniform magnetic field. Now if you place a iron nail somewhere over here, let us say this is that iron nail somewhere over here, then this north is there, so here induced south pole will be produced. And since the this magnetic field is non-uniform, since this magnetic field is non-uniform, it will always get attracted towards the magnet. If this is south, then here north pole will be induced and again it will get attracted, right? Here magnetic field is non-uniform, so a force will act on a nail, right, kept near the bar magnet. Clear? Third one, must every magnetic configuration have a north pole and south pole? What about the field due to toroid? It is not necessary that each configuration, magnetic configuration, should have north pole or a south pole. Only if there is net magnetic dipole moment, say for example, if we have a bar magnet, right, then this bar magnet will have net magnetic dipole moment, and that's why it will have south and north pole, right? On the other hand, if we have a very long, infinitely long current carrying wire, then it will not have net magnetic dipole moment, and in that case north and south pole will not be there. Same is the case for the toroid. In case of toroid, there is no net magnetic dipole moment, and hence that magnetic configuration will not have north and south pole. So when a magnetic configuration will have north and south pole, only when it has net magnetic dipole moment. If net magnetic dipole moment is 0, then you can say that that magnetic configuration will not have north and south pole. Clear? Fourth one, two identical looking iron bars A and B are given. So in fourth case, we have two iron bars. Let us say this is iron bar A and we have another iron bar B. Both are identical in shape, size and look wise, right? One of which is definitely known to be magnetized. Out of this, one is magnetized. We do not know which one. How would you assert whether or not both are magnetized? If one is magnetized, how does one assert which one? Use nothing else but the bar A and B. Look, we cannot use magnetic needle and all that. If we can use magnetic needle, then obviously if we place a magnetic needle over this iron rod and it is not deflecting, means this is not magnetized. And if you place here and the magnetic needle get deflected, then it is magnetized. But we should not use any such thing. We have to use these two iron bars only, and we have to find which one is magnetized and which one is not magnetized. Now in this case, suppose if I will take a bar B, right, and a bar A. Let us say we have a bar A over here. Now what I am going to do is, I am going to slide this bar close to bar B in this direction. We'll move this bar, let us say this is bar A, and we'll move this bar along the length of the B in this direction. If the force of attraction is same everywhere, if force of attraction is same everywhere, then this must be a magnet. Why? Because this is iron. Then here we will have, suppose this is magnet A, and here we have a rod, iron rod, then magnetic field at each and every point will be same, right? So it will get attracted equally at each and every point. But if this is bar magnet, B is suppose a bar magnet or magnetized, and A is not magnetized, in that case magnetic field will be strong at point P and Q. You can say magnetic field will be very strong at point P and Q, but here magnetic field will be weak. So this iron rod will get more attracted towards point P and Q and less attracted towards its length. Clear? So if we take two bar magnets A and B, so if we take two iron rods A and B, right, and while sliding rod A over the length of the B, if it experiences equal force at each and every point, then A must be a bar magnet. But if this rod experiences only a strong force near the ends of bar B and not along its length, then obviously this must be a magnet. Clear? This is how we can identify whether the two magnets are, two given iron rods are magnetized, or which one is magnetized or not. Clear? So in this video lecture we have discussed 3 examples only. In next video lecture we will try to complete the remaining solved and unsolved examples. Clear? Thank you.